So once you let go of your trauma, it is so much more freeing to live because most of the time, our entire lives, we are run by our past trauma. We are run by things that happened 10, 20, 15 years ago, things that happened in our childhood. And we are continuously living by that. Like whatever words that come out of our mouth, whatever situation we get into, whatever things we do on a daily basis, is coming on from that trauma. We are projecting our trauma on our daily lives, our goals, our ambitions, like whatever we're doing, it's coming from the basis of that trauma. Being run by a trauma, we've been run by that breakup that happened 2 years ago. We've been run by our ex, even though our ex is not physically present here now. You're run by that pain. We're run by the guilt. We are run by that shame. And it's constant. Like it takes up so much mental space. And with that trauma, we also worry about the future. We're not here. We're not enjoying whatever needs to be enjoyed at this given moment. We are thinking about the future. We're worrying. Oh my God, I hope I don't run into anybody else who's very similar to my ex girlfriend. I hope I don't have another failed relationship. I hope I don't have another experience that is very similar to this trauma. And we constantly have this fear of running into the same things over and over again. Oh my God, I went through that entire process. I went through that chaos. I don't want to experience any more chaos in my life. I don't want to experience any more problems in my life. This is it. This is done. And because we are run by that trauma, we're going on worrying about the future, thinking, oh my God, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. And our main focus, your main focus is not experiencing the trauma ever again. Guess what? If you're always thinking about not going through any problems in your life, guess what? You will go through problems in your life because you're getting what you focus upon. If you're always focusing upon, oh my God, my partner should never cheat on me, I'll ensure that I always control my partner. My partner will never cheat on me. Guess what? Your partner will cheat on you. If you're always looking to control your partner, it's like you're getting the opposite of what you actually want because you are focusing on all the bad things. You're focusing for things to go south. And this is whatever you focus upon, that is what life will throw at you. So the main thing is you have to let go. Once you let go, it is so much more freeing to live in the present moment. Once you let go and you stop worrying about the future, you have so much mental space. You have so much mental clarity to go on about your daily activities. And now, once you essentially reprogram your mind and you're not focusing on all the bad things in life and you're not focusing upon things to go wrong, you will essentially start manifesting things in the right direction, in your desired direction. Because if you're focusing upon things to go wrong, guess what? Things will go wrong. Life is basically what you focus upon. If you focus upon the positive, you will find more things to be positive about. And if you focus upon the negative, you will find more things to be negative about. It's literally a reflection of your inner reality. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. So make sure your inner reality is solid. And that happens only when you first let go. So letting go is basically replaying the trauma again and again and again in your mind and then letting go of it because you never addressed your trauma. You never addressed those painful moments. You never sat with it and literally dealt with them in a healthy way. All you did was some major stuff happened to you and you decided to cope with that through external substances. You started distracting yourself from dealing with that pain. Many of you went through alcohol, cigarettes, drugs. Start distracting yourself by dating another person. Started distracting yourself through work, through other relationships, through other achievements, by working out. Like, this is all external coping mechanisms. You never really dealt with the pain, the core issue, the root issue. You never really dealt with the actual trauma and pain itself. You're trying to go find external substances to try and cope with that. These are good distractions. They work on the external, but on the internal, they're not really doing anything, because when you go achieve something and somebody mentions about the most painful event in your life, your emotional state will be jarred up. You'll essentially feel anger, you'll feel guilt, you'll feel shame, you'll feel pain. And what's the whole point? You're doing and achieving all these external things, and you still have so much pain inside. You're still attached to the trauma. And whatever you go and create on the external, whatever you're achieving, whatever relationships you make, it is still based upon that core trauma. It's based upon that core belief. So the only way you can actually, be free and not be attached from any pain is by letting go of the past trauma. And once you let go, it is so much more free. You essentially have so much more mental space. Like on a daily basis, just analyze your day. You wake up, you go to work. It's like a machine, all right? Most of your days is consumed by your past trauma and your future worries. And then you have external triggers. You're never really present in the moment. Like you go to the average person is not really present. Like I'll be walking, all right, and you just go walk in the streets, and you will find, like, look people in the eye. It's like they're dead, but they're not yet buried. They are they're already dead, but they're just waiting for the moment to be buried. That's it. They're just walking vampires. They have no soul in their eyes, and that's because they choose to let their traumas run them. They're worrying about the future, and they're coping with these external achievements, and they're getting triggered by external substances. They have so much external triggers. Some minor incident happens when you walk into a coffee shop and the person is screaming because his order is delayed. And you kind of really detach yourself from that situation and watch it from an audience point of view. And then you understand the person is not really angry because the coffee order was late. He's angry on something else. And this was a trigger that triggered that anger in him. And he's just projecting his belief systems upon that environment. He's unable to deal with some things, some issues in his life. And that coffee being delayed is just a trigger point. And then he blasts it out. He lashes out on the barista there. He's like, how dare you serve my coffee so late? And he just completely projects his insecurities. And this is essentially how people who get angry in public places, people who say mean things, people who bully others, essentially deal with their trauma. They're unable to deal with their trauma, so they just project their insecurities on other people, on any given social situation. And then you kind of understand what's really going on beneath all that anger. It's usually pain, it's usually guilt, it's usually shame. Beneath all that anger, all they have is pain. And they deal with pain by being angry. So you don't want to be like that. I mean, how would you want to live? Like, let's say you're about to die, all right, and take a reflection upon your life, and you realize, like, last 60, 65 years, you've just been run by a trauma, worried about the future, and getting triggered by external substances, external situations in your environment. And you're about to die, you're like, what the hell did I do with my life? You're always worrying about the future, and when the future came, you were never really present. You were still run by a trauma and still worrying about the tomorrow, worrying about the next day, worrying about next month, worrying about next year. And when next year eventually comes, you're worrying about next year. And when the next year eventually comes, you're worrying about the next year. And it goes on and on and on and on. And this is usually because we have been attached to our past trauma. So once you let go of your past trauma, you will essentially find yourself not worrying so much about the future. The reason we worry so much about the future is because we don't want to face the same pain that we faced 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago. The reason we are so worried about the future is because we don't want to go through the same pain that we went through. Because you have this ideology that if you don't act in a certain way, you fear that you will lose and you will go through the same pain again. For example, let's say you had a very bad relationship. You were in a very bad relationship, toxic relationship, and things broke off. And now you're run by that fear. Oh my God, what if? And let's say you start dating a new person. You're like, what if that person also ends up being toxic? And you have this constant contemplation in your mind. That person is going to do something. My ex is going to do something. And you're expecting it on a daily basis. You're going around in your waking life. Oh my God, he's planning something. He's doing something. She's planning something. She's plotting something. And you're run by that fear. And you have so much confidence, like this person will do something, will come back. And when you're dating a new partner and you're like, this new partner will also eventually turn out to be toxic. And guess what? If you're constantly focusing upon that, repeating it again and again in your mind, it'll eventually become true. And that is manifestation. You are manifesting all the bad things in your life. Whatever your life is, you have manifested it. It is a product of your imagination, your core belief, and the repetitions of these words and your thoughts inside your mind. So you just have to shift. You already know how to manifest because you have manifested 100% of all the things in your life. Your life is a reflection of your inner reality. You have essentially manifested everything that is going on in your life. So all you need to do is let go of the trauma. Stop worrying about the future. Start aligning yourself in the present. Raise your vibrational frequency. Start vibrating this higher vibrational frequency. And then you will start manifesting things that you actually want, not things that you don't want. That's why people end up manifesting things they don't really want. They start manifesting toxic relationships. Nobody likes to be in a toxic relationship. It's like they're used to being in a toxic relationship and they've conditioned themselves to accept this is the norm. This is normal. And when they go have an healthy relationship, it's like their mind doesn't really accept it. There's no toxic behavior. There's no toxic thing that's going on, and it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel like doesn't feel normal, essentially, and they feel so displaced. They feel displaced out of their reality and kind of manifesting toxicity in this healthy relationship. They will try to turn that healthy partner they have into a toxic partner. And essentially, you attract people who are vibrating at a similar frequency as you. So if you are putting up this front that you love in a healthy relationship, and you didn't really do the inner work, and you will attract a partner who's very similar to this. Even your partner will be putting on this front like they like healthy relationship, but even they didn't do the inner work, and both of you come together, and when things slightly start getting uncomfortable, both of you blast, and this wave of toxicity just explodes inside the relationship. So that is why you have to let go. Let go of your trauma. Be free from your trauma. Because when you're free from your trauma, you're not really, attached to that. You're not worrying about the future. You're living in the present moment, but also you are not manifesting all the bad things in your life. You have the ability to manifest the things that you actually want, things that are actually positive, things that actually bring in more love and joy into your life. So this is the power of letting go. Just when you start letting go of your trauma, things becomes easy. You start living life in easy mode and easy mode, and you don't really get triggered by any external situations. You're just being in the present moment. You go to a coffee shop, the barista delays your coffee order, and you're not really triggered because you did all the inner work. You're not being run by any past trauma. You're not projecting your trauma, your insecurities out in the environment. So that is why you need to let go. Letting go will literally set you free.